One of the skills that you need to be when you start as an entrepreneur, it's really communication skills. You could be a genius designer, but if you don't have the skill to communicate properly, that's going to be a really big lack of able to express yourself with the designer, with the programmers, or the customers.
I do have a conflict with you as well. That, like you were saying that before that, when you were 21, you had a
Yes.
child face. I think you still look like a 25-year.
Yes, yes. I'm 59 today, so but
So,
not today. It's not
peop
my birthday, but
people should
59.
still ask you that you look like a child. Why should they trust you?
Thank you very much. I said all the customers at the beginning, I said, I'm gonna develop the software, I'm gonna sell the hardware, I'm gonna install everything, I'm gonna train everyone inside your company, and you don't pay me one dime. You're gonna pay me only if you're really satisfied in 30 days or 60 days. So I'm gonna work for you 60 days for free. When you're in the softwares and the service industries and you're helping customers to grow, it's so important to have culture fit more than anything else, because they will have to speak to customers. Most people that they don't know each other, especially remote work, must have actually the culture fit because they have to work together. Our next countries that we want to make really to succeed in the USA. The US, it's one of the toughest country to sell, one of the toughest place to be, and but we know that once you succeed in the US, you're gonna probably succeed probably everywhere in the world.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ali. I'm the CEO of Al-Burraq Technologies. Today, we have another tech star, Alain, with us. How are you today?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you so much for joining us. And we are hopeful that we are going to get a lot of insights from your last 33 years in the industry.
Yes, yes, I will. This is why I'm here today.
Thank you so much. Okay, Alan, it will be good if you can introduce yourself and tell us about the journey you had so that our audience can connect with you and we can move forward.
Sure, sure, no problems. Yes. So again, my name is Alain Nadeau. I'm the founder and CEO of Dynacom Technology and Nutcache Technologies. Both company I've created. The first one 33, 35 years ago, actually, and I was going in the tech industries because I wanted to do. My father was an entrepreneur, and he was in the construction industry, and I didn't want to go there. But since I study accounting and marketing, I really love the journey related to anything related the ERPs and accounting softwares. And at that time, my father wanted to computerize his business at that time. So I introduced myself. I took the challenge of building my own softwares at that time in 1990s, and to develop, especially for his industries, which was a distributors of construction industries. And this is where I started with my first customer, actually. And once the software was built, computerized my father, I went to different customers, and I went on to Quebec, Canada, and United States at the beginning, and eventually to around the world. We had free software at that time, and we published the software and download over 250,000 copies was distributed worldwide. And since then, I just grow and grow at that time. So this is how I started from the basement, almost of a garage, and then I move on eventually to hire more and more employees. This is how I started 35 years ago.
So let's talk about Dynacom Technologies and in details. It's been 33 years, which is quite a long time. In this
Yes.
time, what kind of softwares you developed and what is the type of customers you are touching right now?
At that time, it was more like distributors. It was more
Hmm.
like companies that was quite large. The internet wasn't really developed at that time, so I have to create myself a lot of things, a lot of softwares related to computerize any companies. Actually, even before the 90s, I started in the 80s. I just at the age of 16 years old, by the way. So it was really, really hard because they were not even internet. So at that time, I already have a few customers starting that way to install what we call at that time, it was bank communications. I was working with banks to do the communication between the two. So that's why these banks helped me to find customers that they wanted to have the same thing as my father. That was 35 years ago. That's why I create the Dynacom technology brand, to have that software built. I study in accounting and marketing, not in the software development at that time. And that's why I wanted to move in, do the software, because I knew accounting at that time. But I'm not a programmer. I'm not a software the engineer, anything like that. I was moving more in the administration space. But since I knew the accounting challenges of those customers, I was able to mention that to the programmer that I was hiring to develop the software, especially for the customers. That probably what that helped. If I was a software programmer myself, I didn't knew much about the business. So since I was a child, I was working with my father in this business, and so I knew and I've heard all my life about businesses, challenges, and stuff like that. So I was able to develop the software to meet their needs and to different needs. One of the skills that you need to be when you start as an entrepreneur, it's really communication skills. You could be a genius designer, but if you don't have the skill to communicate properly, that's going to be a really big lack of able to express yourself with the designer, with the programmers, or the customers. So that's why how I started 35 years ago.
You have raised a very important thing that you need to be a good communicator if you are doing a business. And because
Yes.
you knew business, but you were not aware of the software
Yes.
development. So that
Yes.
has that itself is a very good question to ask, that if
Yes.
you were not aware of the tech, it's a very challenging part itself to tell the tech community what they need to do and what kind of product you're looking for. So this process is itself very challenging. How did you
Yes.
overcome that, or it was not challenging at all for you?
No, it was a lot of challenge actually. It is because since I didn't know the tech, I didn't know the programming languages or anything related to that, because I study, as I mentioned to you, in the administration space and accounting. I had to learn all that times while I was developing the softwares with them. So those challenges is that since I didn't understand what they're talking about, I had to rely on them. And that was one of the biggest challenges, by the way, because of the fact that I didn't knew about that. So when a programmer suggests something, well, he may not have the right answer or anything like that. So that's why we spend a lot of times of learning and moving and changing the software a couple of times because it didn't work or it didn't was performance well or anything like that. So I learned all about software development over the years. Today, I consider myself almost a software engineer today. But when I started at that time, out first of schools, it's only administration space that I knew. But if you, as an entrepreneur, you need to have not only the communication skill, but the patience, the motivation, and to never let it go. So just to continue it, until you achieve your goals. That's probably one of the main thing an entrepreneur need to understand, that when you move in that space to be an entrepreneur, you really have to understand that it's really to be really motivated, put a lot of hours, and to read a lot. So at that time, and even today, I read a lot of books, a lot of information related to technology as of today. But at that time, there were not much internet, and when it was started, there were not much information on it. So I read a lot of books, discussed a lot, and that's why I was able to develop my first softwares at the beginning.
Right. That makes a lot
Yes.
of sense. So
Yes.
basically, you have to be jack of all if you're doing a business, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
You have to be great in many things. So
Yeah. Okay.
yes.
Let's move forward toward Nutcache.
Yes.
That's a product company, right?
Yes. Yes.
So
It.
my question to you is a little bit different.
Yes.
Previously, you were running a services based company, and then Nutcache was a product based company. So providing
Yes.
services and developing a product or running a product are two entirely different verticals. And the transformation is itself very hard to
Yes.
convert your services based company into a product based company. So how was that journey, and how you were able to do that successfully?
Yes, I went to the product side from this. I went from the service to the product by moving the Dynacom product as a service company more as a product. So eventually, instead of selling services and then selling in software development like many software companies do, eventually I took part of the programmers to develop the Dynacom accounting software by itself as a product. So I moved from a service company to a product company within inside the Dynacom brand, so that eventually I was selling less and less service and more product over months and years, to eventually to Dynacom I was only selling product. So when I create the Nutcache brand, I didn't have to create from scratch, since I was already a product or SaaS software companies. So when I create the Nutcache brand, it was already the Dynacom brand, a product company. So when I create the other one, it was already created because I moved over the years from the service to the product inside the accounting space. So that's why I was generating less and less revenues in the service industries and more in from the product side. So that's why I was able to create the other one as a product, sold over the web with the Nutcache immediately. So I didn't have to change because my business was already a product based business at that time.
Right. So
Okay.
that journey is itself very kind of, you can say that you need a lot of patience for that. You need a lot of persistence for that. Because if you're moving in that direction, so how did you manage that thing?
Yes. The biggest challenge I would say is that when you sell services, you have the revenue immediately, meaning that a
Yes.
customer call you and generate, it just pay by the hour. So in the software industries, when you're selling services, at the end of the month, you have revenue for the service that you render it to your customers. So you were able to pay your employees correctly because you're selling services. Moving to a product, the challenges is that you could spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and at the end sell a product at $10, $20, $100, but just $100. So the hardest point is to be smart enough to make money enough to pay for employees that ain't gonna generate no revenue because they're gonna develop the product instead of selling their time to a customers. So what I did is that I make sure that I took contract that was actually really profitable, and the one that was less profitable, I was let it go. I was not concerned with those customers because I have a vision of creating a product software companies, not a service. So I was selecting the customers. It's hard because you say no to revenue that you could make today because on the long term, the vision of the long term is to create a SaaS software company or a business that is recurring revenue, which is the hardest way. So many people was not able to go through that challenge because you have to have payroll or people on the payroll or people that actually cost you, but then don't generate any revenue. So that's why I was taking less pay. I was taking and not too much expenses because those profit was reinvested in those people to create a product. So it means that at the beginning there's a lot of things that I could have done personally that I put it aside to invest on the long term. So when you create a business, you need to think also long term vision, not just what you could make as a profit today or in 2 years, but where do you see yourself in 10 or 20 years. So you need to have a vision for that. It's just like if
Yeah.
you're driving a car and you don't have any vision of where you're going. So meaning, yes, you're running, you're driving a car, but if you don't have a place to go, even if it's far, well, you're losing your time. So that's why when you start as a business and entrepreneur, you need to understand to have a vision for that. That vision is very important. So there are great people on this planet that have a great vision, but it's small piece. It's challenges every day, but never lose your vision of where you wanted to go. So that's why I took myself a lot of profit that I'd reinvested inside the company because I had the vision for the long term where I wanted to be today. So that's hard for many entrepreneurs that they see themselves just in 5 months or 1 year, 2 years. It's not far away. You need to have to see very, very far when you create something very great.
Right.
That
Only a visionary man can do that.
yes, exactly that.
Not
Exactly.
everybody have the same guts.
Yes,
Only someone with a very strong vision can take that path.
exactly that. So, and you need to stick with that vision
Yeah,
because
I agree with that.
here, yes, in whatever country that you're sitting, whatever the challenges that you have, whatever handicap that you may have, if you stick with your vision and you stick with where you wanted to go in life, not just business, in life, well, you important things is gonna be very good for you. That it is your personal life or professional life, if it's important for you as a vision, and that means you respect yourself in that space, meaning that anything that ain't gonna go in your vision for the long time, gonna put it aside. This is why athletes win the Olympic or they move, or any great entrepreneur is the same thing. I'm not saying that you stick 100% all the time, but meaning that your vision ain't gonna move, even so you meet different people and everything like that. So that's why I was able to go from a software company that was in the service industries and move to a product industries. So I have to reinvest, and it was really, really hard challenges at the beginning without pay for many, many years. So I wasn't not even paying myself. So, and that means that all the revenues, all the profit was reinvested in those employees to create the product, because I had that vision to create this type of company today, and had that vision like 40 years ago. So today people, they see the result, but they forget, like an iceberg, you see just the tip. There's 90% of the ice that it's underwater. They don't see all the effort that it's done. But when you see an iceberg and it's really big today, could you imagine the effort that was under the water? So it's the same thing. So it's a lot of time, a lot of effort, and never, never move away from your vision. That's what I would say as an entrepreneur.
That's a perfect lesson. That's a
Yes,
perfect
thank you
lesson
very
for
much.
many. Okay.
So that's
Okay, let's move
yes,
forward and let's talk
yes,
about customers a little bit, right?
yes,
So, what kind of conflicts normally you have or your company have with the customers, and how do you overcome or how do you suggest that this is how we can resolve those kind of challenges?
yes. The major, major challenges with customers is that when they ask for something, they want to develop something, those customers. Actually, when what they said and what they actually wanted, it's two different things. So it means that sometimes they ask for something, and they, as a service industries, are developing a product for those customers. You listen to those customers. One of the biggest challenges that I had is that those customers ask product or services to be done, or to work in certain way. The one of the largest and the most biggest challenges is that they actually ask, it's not what actually they needed to. So the confidence that you need to have in yourself is to explain to the customers that what you ask, even so you're gonna pay me for doing that, it ain't gonna work. So meaning that I said to the customers, at the end, I ain't gonna take this contract, I ain't gonna develop for you, because I know the end result and going to solve the overall problems. And it's really challenges, because the customer is the person who's paying you for services. But when you're doing services, and at the end the services doesn't fulfill his actual needs that he didn't tell you, well, he ain't gonna pay you, because he said at the end it does not work. So when I started, I was doing exactly what the customers wanted. So I was just doing the development. But you see, most of it and a lot of difficulties that I had, it because the customers, what they ask, I developed for them, but the end result wasn't there. So I had to develop the skills of being a consultant more than a salesman, that who could change and communicate efficiently with the customers, that what they actually ask, it's not going to work for his business, and to have the confidence to convince him that what he wanted, it's not gonna work for him. because you had many customers with the same type problems or something like that. So I had to ask a lot of questions. Just like a doctor, if you're sick, okay, about what? Where is it? He has to ask a lot of questions. So before I was more thinking as a salesman, just have the contract and everything like that. But I had the vision to be profitable enough so I could pay payroll to develop a product. So then I have to select the customers that was willing to understand that actually I'm not just there to sell services or product. I'm there for the long-term relationship. So it's better to explain exactly the technological challenge that's going to come, that the customer will have to overcome, that he doesn't know. But it's really hard, and the only way to do business is that you're able to walk away from that deal. That's what we call negotiation power. So if you're able to walk away of that deal, you could say no instead of just being a salesman and sell the product or service, meaning you don't have the right negotiation level with the customers. So that takes communication skills, it takes confidence in yourself, and the possibility of just walk away. So when the customer said, I understand that you could walk away, that you ain't gonna sell him just for his business, for the money today, well, what happened is that he see the negotiation power, that I'm more there to help. So he was much more willing of dealing with me and listen to me, and the contract was much more profitable. So I was more able to invest inside my companies to develop a product. But that features or that trick, it's very important for other entrepreneurs to understand that if you do exactly what the customer wants, the only thing you do, you're just another employees executing what your boss is telling you. If you're really an entrepreneur and you really want to go at one place on this planet or somewhere else or in life, you need to have these challenges important, that you're not an employee do exactly what an entrepreneur wanted to do. So it's a really two different things. If you have a vision, you want to stick with it, you have to select your customers and you have to work with them. It's not just, you're not just not selling a product. Oh, I
Right.
think so. It's your
No,
yes.
it was a perfect answer, and I can completely second that. And what I do is, whenever I'm dealing with customers like that, so the first question I
Yes.
ask them is, what is your vision related to this product? What are you looking for in the future? So that I tell
Yes.
them, once you're going to tell me the vision, then I'm going to be in the boots of your customer who is going to use
Yes.
the product. And then I will come up with a
Yes.
solution which they will be actually looking for. Because I think apathy is very important when you're developing a product. And if you're
Yes.
not going into the boots, if you're not thinking with the perspective of the end user, you cannot develop a good product.
No, no. And you're totally right. And what happens is that you don't have a vision with that customers for the long term. What happens is that just like when you are buying a product that it's not good or a service that's not good, well, you have to run twice as much because it costs 6 to 10 times more to develop a new customers than to have one that is a repeating customers. So meaning that if you don't have the to be able to be in his shoes, to understand and to work with that customers, well, what happened? You may have one or two contract, but at the end, you will have to run for another customers and you have to repeat entirely the same thing again. So as an entrepreneur, you need to understand that you need long-term relationship, because creating, having and searching for another customers, it takes a lot of effort, actually 6 to 10 times more to have a great relationship. So it's better to work with a new customer, to explain exactly that you're there for helping him instead of trying to sell something. So it means that he see you more like a partner. So that way the confidence is much more embrace, meaning that on the long term is going to stay for you with many, many years. Most of our customers with the Dynacom brand in Nutcache are with us decades long, not 5 years, decades. They generate a lot of money every single month, every year. And we have thousands and thousands and thousands of customers worldwide. So what happened, those recurring revenue are able to generate a lot of revenue, so I could develop new softwares in the Nutcache, and even create a new division in Brazil, so that I was able to do it alone without any financial help from anybody else outside. So I kept my vision from the beginning. I never, never, never went away from this. So all my employees understand that we're there to help the customers, to grow with them. And that's why it's important that once you understand where the customer is, then the relationship is much, much stronger, much, much better. But you need to be in his foot. You need to understand his challenges. You need to focus on what is the problems here, to just not just thinking, how I could sell to this customers something today, tonight, tomorrow, or something like that, but how could I have a long-term relationship with him. So that's, it's really, really important to change yourself like that, so that it's much more calmer, much more easier. And then I have customers, thousands of customers that with us for decades long, and they, even so, they've been uh, not necessarily harass or try to change the software. Most of them stay with the Dynacom or the Nutcache brand because of the enormous relationship we had with them beside the product. So that's why you're going to remember when you're buying a car, it's the same thing. Even so, there's a defect in the car, you have to go back again to the dealers. What you're going to remember is the services that take it to with you, the all the overall experience. You won't talk about the problems you had with the car and everything like that, but how that dealer of that car dealt with you, how they service you. So before you change brand or change cars, you're gonna think twice before changing. So when the car you have 3 years, 5 years, you need to return, or because it was a lease or you bought or something like that, you're gonna probably return to the same dealer because the relationship was great. You're not going to tell other people that you have a few problems with the car. You're going to remember how good the dealer was with you. So it's the same thing with all the industries. It's not just softwares. It's what we call human relationship. It's like between two people, how they deal together to have a long-term relationship.
Right,
That's what I
right,
would say.
right. And to be very frank, this thing is very easy. This thing is very hard to translate, and this thing is very hard to tell your team that you have to deal your clients in this way. And whenever I have to do that, I tell them, look, if he's going to make money, we are going to make money in the longer run.
Yes.
So we
Yes,
want
exactly.
them to be successful. We want their product to be a successful one so that he keeps
Yes.
earning money and keep paying us. So that
Yes,
is the
yes.
simplest way to tell the team that you have to be in his
Yes.
shoes and you have to deliver what his actual customers are looking for.
Yes. One of the challenges that it was difficult when I was young, let's say in my 20 years old, I had looked baby face at 20 years old. So to customers to have confidence, it's me explaining my vision. And he said, how old are you? I said, 21. Oh my God. Why I should pick you instead of the other larger company that doing everything and everything like that? Why I should deal with you, Alain? Because like you, how many employees? And we were just 3 or 4. So how do I went through that challenges when I was really, really young? I said, all the customers at the beginning, I said, I'm going to develop the software, I'm going to sell the hardware, I'm going to install everything, I'm going to train everyone inside your company, and you don't pay me one dime. You're gonna pay me only if you're really satisfied in 30 days or 60 days. So I'm gonna work for you 60 days for free. And if you see that I put my heart and soul to make sure that yourself, your customers, and your employees are very, very, very happy with me, I'm sure they're going to stay with us and you're going to be able to pay me at no problems. So those challenges, especially when I was young, I didn't have much customers. I didn't have much experience and everything like that. But I did put all the time, the effort, 24 hours a day. I even slept on the floor a couple of times because I was working on the system to make sure it's working fine Monday morning. So that's how an entrepreneur, a true one, it is. You put really the effort, and eventually I developed the skills. I developed the knowledge and the experience that the confidence pick up. So even so, I was very baby face and young at 24, 25. I was able to convince a lot of people to follow me. So there's customers that are with me for over 30 years, 35 years. They are still with me today. We may have both a little bit more gray hair together, but they're with me again all those years because uh, they were confident enough to deal with me at that time, and they're really, really happy. And I even met their childrens and their grandchildren even today. So it's very important to have that vision at that time, but you need really to put the effort. Sometimes people said, I want to be an entrepreneur because it's easy or because we're going to make money. It's wrong. It's not easy and you don't make any money. So if you want to be easy and make money, be yourself an employee and work for someone else. That's much, much, much easier. So if, let's say, you're following a path of being an entrepreneur, especially at the beginning, it's going to be no easy, no pay, a lot of problems to solve. But if you stick with your vision and the effort and patience, then you'll be able to succeed. But it takes some time.
Right. Your strategies are a lot of similar like mine. Like what I say to my customers
Yes.
is that in the end of the project, if you're not satisfied, you just tell me that you are not satisfied, and I will give you a refund for
Yes.
100%. Until
Yes.
now, nobody have asked.
You see, so
Right.
it's exactly the same thing. We have the same thinking way, and that's why it's funny that as an entrepreneur, you're yourself and myself to a long term success. It's exactly like that. And people sometimes they go as entrepreneur and they don't understand that.
I do have a conflict with you as well. That like you were saying that before that. When you were 21, you had a
Yes.
child face. I think you still look like a 25 year.
Yes, yes. I'm 59 today, so but
So,
not today. It's not
pe-
my birthday, but
people should
59.
still ask you that you look like a child. Why should they touch you?
Thank you very much. So could you imagine 40 years ago how I was look like?
I can
So it was
imagine
really
that.
a challenge. Yes, thank you very much. I take a good health, and it's important as an entrepreneur also that you keep yourself always in shape and always good health and good food all the time. So it stay your mind is really important. So your body and mind for me it's one piece. So that's why it's important. And I tell a lot of my employees to eat well, drink a lot of water, be aware of all the junk food and everything like that. They see me all the time explaining them. It's important. So that's why I more and more I introduce people inside the company we're growing, and they must follow the same culture here. That's why I push them to have the same culture inside.
Right. Let's talk about the next thing, which is
Yeah.
building a team.
Yes.
Building a company is not
Yes.
possible without building a team. So, when you were building a team, what were the qualities you were looking for, and what kind of team you have right now?
Well, for building a team, there's obviously the first thing that we look. It's actually at the qualification of the persons, but at the end, it's the culture fit that's going to be the most important. You could have the best engineer, the best software designer, and everything like that, but it must fit the culture. At the beginning, we were only hiring more like the technical side, but sometimes the culture fit it's better, and I'm going to tell you why. If you have somebody that's really culture fit, the motivation is there, you're going to much better perform with that person than the other one that is not motivated. He may have all the diploma, all the universities and everything like that, but he's don't culture fit, he doesn't have the motivation to succeed. So what happened is that more and more we go in the future, and I was building a team. I said to my HR and all the people that was doing the hiring, it must be that culture fit. It's very, very important. And you have to understand that here it's really mixed with many different culture all around the world, especially that we have a big team in Brazil, but the culture fit must be exactly the same. It's not because you're coming from India, coming from Europe or coming from South America. People are people. So meaning that wherever you're coming from, it must be the same culture fit. The culture, it's that you're really motivated, that you're eager to learn, and you would like to really to put the effort and have fun with us. And you'll see it's going to be much easier than if you don't have the culture fit. So it's very important in the hiring of the people. You'll see that when you have a vision, the CEO has to display that vision, that all the employees understand that. And then when we do a new hiring, before we hired, we explain that a lot. So sometimes we did some mistake, but we try not to hold with those people that doesn't culture fit us and everything. So it's very important because as you're building a team, it's the same thing with all the entrepreneurs. Sometimes you absolutely need to hire either a sales director, you absolutely need to hire the technician, a programmer, or whatever the people that you're going to work with you. But the problem is going to be much costlier if you hire the wrong person and doesn't have the right, because it's take a couple of months to train somebody. Plus, it takes a couple of months of a senior person that's going to be supervising him, and plus all the training. So meaning that if it doesn't fit in 6 months to a year, the cost to the company is enormous. So I tell the HR, it's better to wait to find the right culture fit than to hire just somebody that fit on his resume or CV. So that way, the rolling of the employees are a lot less when you have the. So since we are in the tech industries, it's much more important to have that, because we're not in the warehousing. We have people in moving boxes. Probably ain't gonna stick too long in the culture fit because it's warehouse. But when you're in the softwares and the service industries and you're helping customers to grow, it's so important to have culture fit more than anything else, because they will have to speak to customers, they will have to speak with other people. So when those people fit together, they're working together. Remember, we pass more time together inside the business than probably with their own husband or wife or children, because we're doing 40, 50 hours a week here. So we have a lot of time. So those people that they don't know each other, especially remote work, must have actually the culture fit, because they have to work together. So that I said, here's your partner, and it's not like selecting a wife or a husband, that it's something different. But when you're working in an enterprise, it's not be far away from that.
Right. So you said you just touched a topic of remote work. So let's talk about that as well. And
Yes.
what do you think are the pros and cons of remote work? And by the way, how do you judge that whether someone who is working remotely is a cultural fit for you or not?
Okay, that's a very good question, especially with the remote work. First of all, the remote work are here to stay now worldwide. It's just a reality
Yeah.
that everybody return to the office. I don't think so is gonna happen, and everybody working 100% remote ain't gonna happen. Human beings need to see each other, to speak together, either at the cafeteria, the coffee room, or something like that. Human are people that love to be with different people. We motivate the people to come inside the office, either in Brazil or either in Montreal, Canada, that at least once in a while they come inside the office. So how do we evaluate them? How do we fit the culture fit in when it's remote work? And now all our employees working must be some kind of hybrid, meaning that they need to come to the office once in a while. There are some employees that 100% remote, and that's even more challenges. But even so, it's remote. It still have fit to different meeting. It need to fit with the culture fit. So it's the same selection, that it's 100% remote, that is 100% in the office. That we evaluate that, we speak with them a lot, and you have the feeling, just like me and you, okay, this guy's in front of me, I think so, even remote, I could work with them. And you have probably customers or employees, even yourself, myself, that even with it just video, you said to yourself, I think so, it's going to be hard. If you have a yellow or a red flag that you think so, that's going to be hard in the evaluation process, immediately I told the HR, move to the other candidate immediately. Because if it's hard with just evaluation on remote with a video, there's few questions that they ask you, and you said already a yellow flag. I think so. Since remote is so hard to have the culture fit, well, I said go to another candidate. So we sometimes it's difficult to finding the right person, and I understand that 100%, especially in the high technology. But I told them that culture fit is much, much more important than the technical skills he may or she may have. So that's why it was like that, especially the remote work. It's so hard to evaluate them for the working and everything like that. And that's why we have a lot of tools to help us to evaluation, but still it's hybrid. So sometimes they work a couple of days at home, a couple of days in the office, and so on. So we need to have the same evaluation kit. We're using obviously the Nutcache product for doing that. So we need to use the same tools that they're working from home or office, so that it doesn't make any difference for the evaluation. So meaning that they're working from home, they still have things to deliver, product to make, or probably time that is being evaluated on some kind of a task must be followed like that. And we have a lot of KPI relate like that. So we don't make any difference between remote or office. It's the same KPI for everyone, meaning that there's data that we display to them, and they see where they are in the evaluation beside all the other candidate that is working with us at that time. Are you at the top performer, or are you at the bottom? If you're at the bottom, it's not the right place to be. So you need to go higher. So we evaluate them often. So all the employees have the same KPI. That doesn't make a difference for us that you're making 1 day or 5 days a week in the office. At the end, it's just the KPI. Because beside, you could be 5 days a week in the office and be still a poor performer, even so the boss is near. It doesn't check you all the time. It doesn't put a camera behind you 100% of the time. So meaning that at the end of the day, it's what you have been able to deliver, that we don't make any difference between the two. So that's is how.
Okay, perfect. So after Brazil, which country you are going next?
So, with what's being said with the remote work, that we doesn't make any difference between Canada and Brazil because it's all the same for us. It's the next country that we're gonna to invest and to make it work. It's in the USA right now. We're working to implement my third subdivision in the USA right now. We already have one employee down there, and we're gonna grow probably to 40 people. So it's gonna grow really, really like that. I cannot talk really much about it today because it's still in the creation phase like that, and there's some confidential relation related like that. But in January, it's gonna be more on our website and everything like that. But our next countries that we want to make really to succeed in the USA. The US, it's one of the toughest country to sell, one of the toughest place to be, and but we know that once you succeed in the US, you're gonna probably succeed probably everywhere in the world because people see product coming from the US as a better product, better finance, and it's better built. So they already started that way, but it's so hard to sell to those American. That's why we wanted to implement an office down there, and those employees will be American employees working for American customers. So that way we could bond together, and sometimes the American are more kind with speaking with different Americans. So that's why it's we wanted to have an American company, to have American people working with American customers, and eventually this could be expanded to different countries. So that's why our next country is in the USA.
Okay, so I hope that after USA, Pakistan is also followed.
Which country? Yeah, Pakistan. Yes.
I have to speak for my country.
Yes, that's true. I've been in India also, tried to open an office
Uh,
there,
th-
also even Bangladesh. So
yeah.
personally, so I know those
So,
countries a lot very
so
much.
whenever you had a plan to set up something in Pakistan, I am here.
No problems. I'll be glad to contact you back again.
Perfect. Perfect.
All right.
So, because we both are from the software industry, right? So, let's talk about the evolution coming in AI and machine learning. So, how
Yeah.
do you see the future of the development, and what do you think uh, things are going to be in the future? in the very
Okay.
near future, by the way?
Yes, by the way, actually, AI are there to stay and to grow. Eventually, AI is going to replace a lot of things that we're used to it. Um, AI, it's like you cannot go around. You have to adapt. So it's for the future, for the people listening to me, it's more like AI. You cannot ignore it. You need to embrace it. You need to work with AI. It's the future will be on with people who understand AI and work with AI. The people who don't embrace AI is going to be pushed aside, and probably their job will going to change. Right now, we're using AI in most of the place inside the companies, in the development tools, in the study tools, in the evaluation tools for peoples, and that it's much more because AI don't have emotions, so they just give us the data, and it's displayed information to us in such a way that it's much easier. So AI are there to stay, and it's going to grow, and it is today, not in the future. It's today, and there's so many AI product right now that could develop a website by itself, probably in 30 minutes or an hour. Your entire website are all developed. And before, it was taking a small team, maybe 2 3 days. Now it's developed by itself. So the idea is, it's not try to compete AI. It's impossible. It's just like you're playing chess with the machines. The machines will always win. So that it's better to use this knowledge and use it in your benefit, that your software companies or the tech companies are much more not only profitable but much more efficient because you're using AI. So the thing I would say to the people listening to us, go immediately, search many tools in the AI and help you your business to use it instead of ignore them, because competitors will use it, and what taking your entire team to develop in 1 week, you'll do probably alone in 1 hour. So meaning that your business is going to be out of business. You have to rethink yourself what you're going to do in the future. So AI are really embraced here in the Dynacom and Nutcache brand, and we're using more and more and more all in our tools, and it's going to be also embedded more and more in our project management tools, that it help the customers to decide which project is going to be more efficient with those people, because they study more and more which persons are better with what type of project. So AI will recommend to our customers, you should take those people for that type of project instead of leaving the product manager decide by himself. The AI will study thousands or millions of data points and going to do the recommendations that's going to be better for your business. So we're working in such of a way to using AI inside the Nutcache brand, so it help the project manager using Nutcache to have which people I should put to which project, and the AI will have thousands, if not millions, of points saying that this person is pregnant, this person is leaving for vacation. That for a project manager, it's very hard to see which one, but the AI will study thousands of points and recommending which person should be the best for your project. So we're using this AI all over the place, and we thinking such of a way how we could put the AI inside our product for recommendation. And eventually, do you wish that the software do all the selection of all the people? And eventually, we think so. The human was just gonna say yes, because anyway, you're 10 times or 100 times better than me anyway. So it's gonna help those project managers to be more efficient. So, and then the business more profitable for them. That's how we're going to sell the software in the future.
Right.
Yes.
So now we are toward the end. So I would like you to give some advice to the aspiring entrepreneurs who want to start the business in the product side or the services side.
Yes. Okay. As an entrepreneur, as a person who've been in business for almost 40 years now, it's there's going to be a lot of challenges. They're going to be consultant that going to recommend you a lot of stuff. But consultant, remember, they don't take the risk. At the end of the day, it's always yourself. What I could recommend it is that take some small challenges at the beginning. Don't give you three focus. Focus on one thing, be good at it. And then when you're very, very good at something, then you could add something else. What I would say is that sometimes our head is spread all over the place with try to solve thousands of other problems. Focus on one or two things, be good at it, put the effort, put the time, and communicate a lot to your people around you your vision. And when they understand where the CEO, the owner wanted to go, it's going to help you a lot to achieve your goals for yourself and for the entire company and for the entire people. That's what I would say.
Thank you so much, Alan. And it
Yes.
was really nice talking to you. Your ideas are too much aligned with me, so it looks like that I am talking to myself.
Thank you very much. And it was such a pleasure for me too. And I hope it's going to help a lot of people to achieve their own personal goals.
Yeah, I'm sure about that. Thank you so
Okay.
much for the people who were looking at the podcast, and I hope you learned a lot. And keep watching our episodes so that we can bring more and more tech stars to your screens. Have a nice day.